Okay, we are live. We'll let it breathe just for a second and bring on Facebook, orientate landscape, orientate. Sorry, guys, this is a new thing. I won't narrate it every time, but just this once. Just make sure it connects. Let's hope no problems tonight. StreamYard's throwing some new tools at us that are kind of complicating our normal go live, but welcome in. It is the Mile High Huddle podcast. I'm your host, Chad Jensen. With me, my fellow football priest. You know him, you love him, Zack Kelberman. Zack, today, some very unexpected news. Alex Singleton announced on social media that he has been diagnosed with testicular cancer. And we also learned that he knew going into that Thursday night game against the Raiders that the following day he would be undergoing a surgery to remove a tumor, and he played his butt off,
Yep.
co-leading the team in tackles with 9, laying a killer block. Also, Zack, as you pointed out, I think it was on X for Dondrea Tillman on the interception. But first of all, we'll get into the other storylines that kind of come as a result of this news. But your gut reaction to the unfortunate announcement from Alex Singleton?
Yeah, man. First of all, we need to separate football and real life. And I've been very critical of Alex Singleton, the player, and rightly so for his past coverage liabilities. But Alex Singleton, the human, is incredible. He's inspiring, and I wish the Broncos had every human being on the Broncos team was like Alex Singleton. I wish him the absolute best. It says a lot, Chad, that he went out there knowing just a few days before that he was diagnosed with cancer. We're not talking about a broken thumb. We're not talking about a knee injury. We're talking about the big C. He went out there. You'd never know he was diagnosed. He had a great game. He was celebrating the pick. He was laying blocks down. Again, I haven't been the biggest Singleton fan, but he has a fan for life now in me. Big ups and big respect to him for what he's going through.
No doubt about it. And guys, real quick, one of the things that StreamYard is throwing at us and suggests for YouTube is when we stream to YouTube, we can stream in the traditional landscape format that you guys are used to watching us in, and also vertical format where we are stacked, Zack and I, one on top of the other. So, to fit a screen vertically, right, on a phone. So I'm not 100% sure. This is the first time we've done it. I'm not 100% sure on your end. I think you can choose which of those streams you prefer to watch. You can watch the vertical option. I don't know if you got to toggle back and forth through the channel to find it, but it should be pretty simple. So we're giving it a shot this time to see how it works for you guys, streaming to both vertical and landscape. So you'll have to let us know, give us your reviews on things. That's why it may look a little bit different as Brad's going, hey, why does it look different a little bit? So it shows us too, by the way, real quick, Zack, some inside baseball stuff here. On the right-hand side, you can see if it has the little phone shape next to the comment, you can see that they're watching from vertical as opposed to landscape. So very interesting, guys. And we do, of course, want your feedback on that as the show marches on. But yeah, Alex Singleton to go out there, to have his head together enough to go out there and just kick butt against the Raiders in the face of the devastating, which, I mean, I think any guy walking under the sun, if you got that news, would be devastated. And then a lot of bit anxious about what might happen the following day. So kudos to him. Thoughts and prayers to Alex Singleton. And in the short term, what he said today, publicly outside of he made himself available at the facility for some questions, and he wouldn't, Zack, put an exact timetable on how long he's going to be gone, but he did say for sure this Chiefs game. So hopefully it's something he can bounce back from sooner rather than later. It's unclear at this stage, according to him, from what I read from his remarks today, Zack, whether or not he's going to require any further stuff like, radiation or, chemotherapy or anything like that. Hopefully not. If he does, it might keep him out longer. If he doesn't, he'll be obviously back sooner.
But again, though, I mean, this is cancer we're talking about. So first and foremost, I hope Alex gets the treatment he needs. He gets back to 100% health before we even think about football. His loss will be a loss for the Broncos defense, but hopefully, if we're talking about football, they can rally around him for this absence going into their bye week.
No doubt. So the question now is, what for the team anyway, because our thoughts and prayers will be with him. That's a fight for his life. He's got to focus on that. For the Broncos, it seems like, oh, pretty easy. Justin Sternad continues to be basically a starter, only this time he's not necessarily rotating in and out with Dre Greenlaw. It's Dre Greenlaw and Justin Sternad. But one thing that's kind of, I didn't think about, Zach, till I started writing this story about an hour ago was, well, Singleton wears the green dot. So he's the guy that has the radio in his helmet. So when Vance Joseph's relaying the plays, the calls, they come into his helmet. He not only lets everybody know what the play call is, but his responsibility is making sure everyone kind of gets lined up. And then the safeties on the back end are kind of a check and a balance to that. But Justin Sternadzak would not, of course, wisely, and being a Sean Payton player, smart enough to know, he didn't announce who's the green dot's going to be, but I would be surprised if it's anybody but him.
Yeah, that's the smart money, is it being Sternad. Also, I can see Brandon Jones maybe wearing it, or Huff maybe wearing it, but more than likely Sternad's been in the system. He knows the playbook, and he knows all the calls. And again, we're talking about football and talking about health and separating them from a football standpoint. It might be a blessing in disguise, Chad. Again, I don't want to dump on Singleton, but a lot of fans have been calling for the Broncos to start Sternad and Greenlaw inside linebacker, not Singleton and Greenlaw. So we'll see what happens.
So you guys tell us how you like this format, having the two options. Papa Bear, what's going on, big dog? Great to see one of our dear Mount Rushmore superstars and members. He says, good evening, Broncos country. Prayers for Singleton. No doubt about it. Hashtag 13 and 4 plus 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 plus. God bless the USA. No doubt, dude. Thank you very much, Papa Bear, for your support, man. I don't know what we do without guys like you and so many of our awesome supporters. I mean, shout outs to David Youngkin's in the house, Pro 16's in the house, saying more motivation for Denver to win the game this week because the players love Alex. They really do. And that play, Zach, of Tillman getting the interception is a nice little like microcosm of why he's one of many reasons. Certainly he's so loved in that locker room. You know, the ball gets tipped up. Singleton himself thinks he's got a chance at it, not realizing that Tillman's there to kind of pluck it out of the air. And then as soon as Singleton realizes, oh, Tillman's got it, he turns, looks at the field, turns back, and he starts waving Tillman, follow me, big dog. And so he turns and he follows him. And I can't remember which Raiders offensive lineman, Zach, but Singleton just drops his shoulder and takes him completely out of the play. And it bought Tillman an extra 8-9 yards, something like that. But just a great guy. So, yes, Zach, I think you'll see the defense in particular playing pretty inspired football on Sunday against the Chiefs. And let's not also forget, Zach, Singleton, a team captain.
Yeah, the Broncos should be hashtag Singleton strong for this game. And it's not just his fellow players that love him. I saw a report that George Payton was at the hospital the entire length of the surgery that Singleton had. And he did not leave until Singleton was okay and he emerged from surgery. So he's a big spark plug inside that locker room. And again, thoughts and prayers are with him as he goes through this battle.
No doubt. Gene William in the house, the brace girdles. What's up, big dog? He says, what's up, man? Glad to hear our guy Alex is good. It seems they caught it early. For what it's worth, it seems they caught it early. But, of course, you don't know until they're officially out of the woods. And right now, he's still in the woods, which is why, you know, the thoughts, the prayers, all that stuff. He needs those vibes, the genuine prayers and support. Gene says, excited to get back to football and kick the Chiefs' rear end. No doubt about it. Zach, the Kansas City Chiefs are a formidable foe on any given Sunday, but especially coming out of the bye, you got to deal with Andy Reid's 22-4 record as a head coach in games directly following the bye. And that, of course, stretches back to his Philly days.
Yeah, I know the Chiefs are getting a little hot right now. They're starting to roll, but they're still a very beatable team. The Broncos should have swept them last season. We'll throw away the backup bowl in week 18. We'll talk about the one at Arrowhead. If it wasn't for Alex Forsythe, the Broncos would have, not should have, would have won that game. So, Gene, it's going to be competitive. If the Broncos can play their 100% four-quarter elite display of effort, then you're going to see the Broncos maybe go to 9-2 on Sunday night.
Scott, without risking unplugging this thing again, I'm just going to try and maybe not project as much if I'm a tad hotter than Zach right now on my mic, because the tappy tap's not working and I don't have the software open and I don't want to screw it up. George Fox, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being with us tonight. Thank you for the support on Facebook. Couple nights in a row, big dog. Thank you. It's always great to see our Facebookers. And just because we are, of course, devoting more and more of our creative time and attention on YouTube, doesn't mean we don't love our Facebook members and Facebook family at MHH. It's just that YouTube's saying, welcome here. How can we help you? Let's do what we can on our part to help you reach your entire audience and your entire following. Whereas Facebook, they don't do that. In fact, it's the opposite. They say, show us the money and maybe we'll help you reach a couple extra people who have already chosen a long time ago to follow you.
Yeah. Thank you, George.
We got Ralph Bracegirdle in the house. What's up, brother? We got the father. We've got the son. He says, my priests, Singleton played through a completely destroyed knee last year. So it's no surprise he did so good with just bad news. Zach, it's awesome. Andrew Mason retweeted your article the other day. VJ will confuse the Chiefs at all costs and use this unfortunate news against Andy Reid. Yeah, it's going to be tough, man, because the Chiefs, even though Zach, I was thinking about this today. I wrote 2 different articles about the Chiefs matchup today. And even though it was against the Chiefs JV team in the season finale last year, they're going to have their dander up because the Broncos shut them out, and Sean Payton just kept the gas on, dude, throughout that game. I think it was 38-0, no mercy. He used it as an opportunity to do a little bit of stat padding for his boys, especially Bo Nix. So I think the Chiefs, and they also know that the Broncos right now are at the top of the AFC West. So you're going to get the best shot the Chiefs got.
Now, I think it simply boils down to if the Broncos play as they did against the Raiders, they're going to be 8-3. If they play as they did against the Cowboys, there's a very good chance they're going to be 9-2 and really taking a firm hold of the division lead.
There we go. How about now, Scott? Is it still as hot? Better? Good. All right. I won't have to worry about my volume. Joe Anthony, a dear member in the hizzy. Great to see you, man. Thank you for the super chat. Says, sending a super chat for Alex Singleton. I had that same surgery 40 plus years ago. Wow. Well, yeah, that's really, that's crazy, man. I think that's, I'm sure women have their deep-seated fears and worries, and that's definitely one for men. That's for sure. He says, I'm 54 now. So I was around 10 to 12 years old, somewhere in that time frame. Wow. Really? That's, crazy. Thank goodness that you were able to vanquish it, big dog. That's for sure.
Yeah, you have my admiration for sure, and we appreciate the super. Thank you, Joe.
And Ralph, dude, thanks, buddy. Still a member on YouTube, and he's always traditionally been a Facebooker, but when we started putting the call to action for YouTube, Ralph answered the bell. So thank you, buddy. We appreciate you guys. So yeah, guys, tell us what you think of the new look. David says he's checking it out. On the vertical side of things and on YouTube, that is. And yeah, cancer is scary. That's why I say we got to keep our prayers up. The prognosis is nothing but good, but until he's out of the woods, he's in the woods. And so we got to keep praying and supporting Alex Singleton.
For sure.
All right, guys, lots more to get to here in just a few moments. But look, if you're still figuring out gifts, House of Atlas, guys, it's a no-brainer. Perfect for your brother, perfect for your roommate, or even yourself when someone asks you, hey, what is it that you want for Christmas, the holidays, etc., and you don't necessarily feel like having to think about it. Their grooming kits make it super simple to clean up, and they actually look as good on the counter as they feel in your hand. The razors, this guy right here, its weighted handle and precision trim edge make it effortless to get a smooth, clean shave every single time, something that most razors, frankly, don't do. And the best part is you can grab them at Target stores nationwide or online at target.com, so you don't have to overthink it.
That's right, guys. Atlas is redefining men's grooming with premium tools and products designed to look good, feel good, and actually perform. I love the razor because it feels solid in your hand. It's not flimsy like disposable razors, and the precision trim edge makes detailing under the nose, the sideburns, and edges simple and precise. Beyond the shave cream and aftershave elevate the routine with the refreshing and subtle signature scent, making grooming feel more like self-care than a chore.
It's good stuff. I love the way it smells. Love the way it makes your face feel after as well. So don't stress, guys, over last-minute gifts or settle for shaving products that just don't deliver. This holiday season, give yourself or someone on your list the upgrade they deserve with House of Atlas. Grab it at Target stores nationwide or online at target.com. All right, back to the chat we go and the conversation at hand. So, Zach, this also puts a little bit of an onus on Dre Greenlaw, who the Broncos in a perfect world, they've been trying to kind of let him ease into his role as a starting member of this defense. And yet, he's been playing 20, 30 snaps-ish of the 3 games he's appeared in. How are you feeling about Dre Greenlaw, knowing now that Alex Singleton's going to be out for a bit?
I feel like he was always the top inside linebacker, and now he's more entrenched as the top inside linebacker. I've had no complaints with Dre Greenlaw. He plays maybe a tad, a second through the whistle, but I love that dog mentality. I love that deaf woo mentality that Dre Greenlaw has brought to the defense. They needed that dog, and between him and Huff Chat, it's been money well spent, in my opinion.
So this last week he did Greenlaw 37 of the defensive snaps, which accounted for 62%. Of course, Singleton did not leave the field. If the defense was on, he was on. He played 100% snaps, including Riley Moss as well, Talanoa Hufanga, and Brandon Jones. Everyone else, of course, would get their breathers. I'm trying to find Sternad. Here he is. He played, oh, wow. He only played 6 snaps on defense last week. That surprises me. But, of course, he's going to be the guy probably edging on 100%. But then again, we don't know for sure yet who's going to wear the green dot. I would think it's Sternad, though, for multiple reasons. Not only the fact that he's of the linebackers healthy and available to the Broncos currently. He's got the most experience in the Vance Joseph scheme. I think Vance Joseph probably trusts him to know everything a little bit more perhaps than Dre Greenlaw at this point. And then Zach, he's been a Bronco his whole career. So he's been here since Vance Joseph arrived back in 2023. And also I think, whoever the guy is with the green dot that's relaying those plays and the first guy going, okay, are you lined up right? Okay, cool. I think he needs to also have some trust and some credibility, so to speak, from the players around him. And that's not to say that Greenlaw doesn't have that, but I think Sternad has more, considering how much more time on task he's got as a Bronco in this scheme with these players.
And ideally, you want someone in the middle of the defense. That way they can relay the calls in front of them and behind them. And that's why we both think that Sternad's going to be wearing that dot on Sunday.
Jonathan Figueroa in the house. Good to see you, big dog. Thank you for the super chat. I want to invite you to become a member, buddy. We need you. He says, prayers to Alex. Bo needs to settle down and plant before he throws. Sean needs to call a good game, no screens, and let JK and RJ run the ball hard. We still don't know what's up with JK, right, Zach? I mean, have we heard anything today about JK and the second opinion and all that with the foot?
Well, like you said yesterday, we're not going to get anything out of Sean Payton, but I would have to assume that no news is good news at this point. If it was a severe injury, we would have heard more about that, but we'll just have to see as the week goes on. They practice Wednesday, so we'll know then a little more about his status.
Unless there's some insider report on it, that's exactly when to circle. But if he ends up missing a little time, Jonathan, J.K. Dobbins with his foot injury, R.J. Harvey, time to grow up, step on into being the number one guy. And, hey, what an opponent to go against yet. We haven't gotten the head-to-head yet, so I haven't looked at exactly where the Broncos and Chiefs rank against each other relative to offense, defense, special teams. But yeah, Bo Nix, if he just minds this, that's a good phrase for it, Jonathan. He needs to settle down. If he settles down, he will mind his P's and Q's relative to technique, because if you watch the film at all, the plays in which he's fundamentally sound with his base, his footwork, setting his feet, all that stuff, the ball goes where he wants it to go. But it's when he kind of runs and guns and a little bit helter-skelter that it starts kind of getting sketchy for the Broncos.
Yeah, I'll quote you really quickly, Chad. I don't like speaking in absolutes, so I don't want to say they should run no screens against the Chiefs on Sunday. It's just when you run the screens, it's the flow of the game. That's where Sean Payton, I think, has to improve. The one thing they should not run, I could speak in absolutes there, no trick plays. No passes to Garrett Bowles, no Cortland Sutton double passes. Just run the ball and play a normal style of offense, Sean, please.
No doubt about it. But like, look, dude, Eric did a good job kind of chronicling why Bo was as bad as he was against the Raiders on Thursday night. And then today he balanced it out with a bunch of a film breakdown. Guys, go give it a read that showcases all the reasons why Broncos fans at large should still believe all the good things he's done this season. He's kept the film study in the second article to this season. I highly recommend reading it. But it really all comes back to minding his technique, minding the technique. If he does that, it turns out well. Cody Dubb, a dear member, a superstar, jumping in to say, anyone coming back from injury this week? Not that I'm aware of. I mean, we'll get our first inkling of that when they actually practice on Wednesday. But the only other guy, Zach, that unless I'm forgetting somebody, I mean, Drew Sanders is really the only guy. And at this stage, they could really use that extra body, so to speak. I mean, he's not all that experienced, although this is his third year. He's not all that experienced, but at least he's got talent. Like if anything were to happen, knock on wood, to Greenlost or Sternad, he at least is a talented guy, if not experienced in the NFL.
Yeah, Surtain's out this week. Singleton's out this week. Marvin Mims could come back from his concussion. That's the only one that's up in the air. I think he will be back, but Surtain and Singleton are out, Cody.
That's right. I was thinking of IR guys, but yeah, in case you missed the show last night, Mims is a virtual lock to return. And we still have our fingers slightly crossed, don't we, Zach, that there's a possible chance of Surtain, maybe.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't expect it, but maybe. Shannon Mills jumping in with a generous super chat.
Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. So generous, helping us keep the lights on, saying good evening, sending good vibes to Alex. So glad he got this taken care of early, and I hope he recovers soon. Looking forward to seeing some inspired play by the defense on Sunday, and I'm hoping the offense also gets the run game going. No doubt about it. What Justin Sternad said today was he was asked, so one of the several questions about Alex that he got asked, he said, hey, the Singleton situation, is that kind of an inspiration for the team? And he said, quote, yes, absolutely. Alex sharing his stuff with us and just the story and everything and the person that he is, I think everybody's going to be inspired by him. We're all just going to put our best foot forward and go out and get a victory this week against Kansas City. Close quote, Zach.
Shannon, thank you so much for that generous contribution. The Broncos should be plenty motivated for Sunday's game. Not only is it the Chiefs, not only are they home, not only do they have a chance to put the stranglehold on the division, but they're going to be playing, as you said there, for Alex Singleton. And if they can't, before their bye week, by the way, and if they can't get up for that, then I have some questions about their mental fortitude. But I think they will, and I think we're going to see a highly competitive game against Kansas City on Sunday. Thank you again.
Yeah, appreciate you, my friend. And that's a couple nights in a row, if I'm not mistaken, dude. So thank you very much for the support. Zach, I'm just pulling up real quick the Chiefs' schedule. I'm trying to remind myself their sequence of wins and losses. So they open the season 0-2, then they get to 2-2, then 2-3, 3-3. Then they win a couple in a row to get to 5-3. But they lost their last game, which was week 9 against the Bills. Zach, 28-21. Bills win that one. Then they hit the bye. And as I mentioned earlier, Andy Reid, whatever, 22-4, I think, all time on games played directly after the bye. So on one hand, it's kind of a contrast. You've got the Chiefs, who are going to be about as rested as it gets going into a game, versus a Broncos team that, yeah, you got that one little 3 extra days, one meaning like one little stretch of 3 days off, because Sean Payton cut everybody loose Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But before that 3 days, Zach, I mean, 10 weeks of not only a lot of football, a lot of travel, East Coast, short week turnarounds, trip across the Atlantic, all that stuff. So it's going to be really interesting to see how much that maybe plays a part in this matchup.
Kansas City is going to want this one. They're going to be up for it, and the Broncos are going to have to match that. What I've noticed about the Chiefs this year, they've kind of been yo-yoing back to an offensive team. They got Rashee Rice back, and Mahomes is connecting with him on deeper passes than we saw last season. The defense, though, is more exploitable. So this is where we need Bo to put his big boy pants on, Sean Payton to put the big boy headset on, and really come out with a full 4-quarter effort. They are going to need it Sunday.
Yeah, so also the thing to talk about too, relative to the Chiefs, the Broncos, the Chargers, guys. I mean, this season finale, the last 2 games of this season for the Broncos are going to be so crucial. But the Chargers continue to win, so they're 7-3. The Broncos are the currently the 2 seed. Their playoff probability, according to the NFL, is 91%. The Chargers sit at 82%. The Chiefs sit at 66%. Because they've already lost, as I mentioned earlier, the 4 games, and they still have, a long row left to hoe. So the AFC this year, man, it's going to come down to the wire, I think, because the Chiefs aren't going to go quietly into that good night, not with Andy Reid still in the house. But David T., good to see you, big dog. Thank you for being a member, loyal member and a superstar. He says, hi, Chad, Zach, and Broncos country. I missed a little earlier, so I will ask any word on Dobbins. No updates. What we know about Dobbins is that he suffered a foot injury against the Raiders. Zach, you can probably break this down better because you had the story, but it was on an illegal tackle, and he was getting a second opinion. Now, typically, the one thing I'll say, Zach, and I'm touching wood as I say it, when a player goes in for a second opinion, it's because they got a initial opinion they didn't want to get. They didn't want to hear it, right? So they're going for hopefully better news elsewhere, or perhaps a different perspective that could give them a more optimistic prognosis. So that's the only thing. It's not an absolute, but it's the only thing that gives me a little bit of anxiety about the Dobbins sitch.
Yeah, he was injured on an illegal hip drop tackle against the Raiders that wasn't penalized, and there were no fines levied for it. But he finished out the game. He had that big rush on the Broncos' final drive that helped him seal the win and bleed some clock. So he looked no worse for wear, but then he came out after the game and blasted the NFL. Then we heard that he has a foot, which was originally reported as a knee injury, by the way. So no news yet. And I will say, David, this is my own speculation. I would feel no news is good news on J.K. Dobbins, but we'll know more hopefully Wednesday.
No doubt. It's really good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, David. We also have here Tucson Phil in the house on Facebook. Great to see Phil. He says, good evening, Chad, Zach, and Deacon Scott. Prayers for Alex. Time for Greenlaw to step up. Going to be fun watching Mahomes get up off the ground this Sunday. This D is inches away from elite. Oh, man, there's a joke there. I'm going to leave it, though. Just needs a few takeaways. Hashtag Buckham, MHH for life, Broncos for life. No doubt about it. That's been the one kind of missing component. However, Zach, they've gotten a couple extra of late thanks to Dondre Tillman.
I mean, I think the defense, Phil, is elite. You can argue and nitpick the turnovers and some of the off coverage they play, but you really can't ask for more when you have Surtain, Zach Allen, Cooper, Nick Benito, JFM, everyone else just causing havoc on a weekly basis. But to your point, we better hope to see Mahomes on the ground, or at least flustered, because that's how you're going to control the game, is cutting off the head of that Kansas City offense.
By the way, as I mentioned earlier, Greenlaw played something like 60% of snaps last week, but he still had 5 tackles, and the team lead was between Hufanga and Singleton with 9. So he has been productive when he's on the field. But I do agree with you, Phil, that it's, in terms of time for Greenlaw to step up, it's not so much, do something. It's step up to the full share of starter snaps. Because what do you got behind those two guys? What do you got behind Greenlaw and Sternad? Karine Reed, who got dinged up in that Raiders game. I don't know what his outlook is. And I'm trying to think now who, I mean, they'll promote. They've got Bailey on the practice squad. They've got, what's the other, or the new undrafted rookie? I'm brain farting his name. 55, Jordan Turner. Did they sign another guy on the practice squad? Either way, they've got some options on the PS, and then still, we were told in the summer that Drew Sanders was going to be available this season. Well, I mean, here we are, week 11. If you're not going to bring him back now, are you going to bring him back?
I mean, I'm no NFL scout, far from it, but from what I've seen of Greenlaw so far, I haven't said to myself, I'm a little reticent to give him a full complement of snaps. I think he's raring for more snaps, and he's passed the test with flying colors so far, so I think he'll be up for the challenge.
Yeah, Ralph, I hear you on this, dude. I thought, he says, I wish I could watch Monday Night Football. WTF is happening with all the subscriptions. So there was a negotiation dispute between Disney, ESPN, of course, owned by Disney, and YouTube TV. So I'm a YouTube TV guy. I got rid of Dish a long time ago, and Scott as well. And so we're feeling the pain, but I thought I had read, Zach, that they had finally kind of gotten to the bottom of their dispute, but it's not on mine yet. And I think I might have misinterpreted the notification I got. Yeah, exactly. Hold on, Boot Boy. The notification I got that told me as a YouTube TV subscriber that I would be getting a $20 credit for the absence of ESPN. But I think that the fact that it's not available to us right now must still mean, Zach, that they have yet to come to an accord.
Yeah, I don't know too much about that. I have cable, so the game's available to me. That sucks for everyone out there. There are other alternative websites. I won't get into that, but if you search for yourself, you should be able to find the game.
And by the way, if you are a YouTube TV subscriber and you got that same notification I got, saying that you're entitled to a $20 credit, they're not just crediting your account. No, that would be too kind. You have to go and find the link to then accept the credit. So for what it's worth, Ralph, you're going to need to go find that link. Just Google it, and you'll find it. But Boot Boy says, I was thinking, as you said it, Chad, the D, exactly, the elite D. I mean, just the phrase, the way it was portrayed there. The D is inches away from elite. I don't know. I'm just 14. What can I say? I'm 14 years old. But he also says, Chaos Josh, Singleton is nothing short of a warrior. Prayers to him and his family. Dre is going to have one hell of a game on Sunday. How sweet will this W be? I'll tell you what, man. Anytime you beat the Chiefs, it feels really good just because of how Zach long that 16-game stretch really felt, man. It was stretched over, what was it, almost 8 years? I mean, the last time the Broncos had defeated the Chiefs before the streak ended was week 2 of the last Peyton Manning season. So week 2 of 2015. And then you get to that second game in 2023 where they finally beat the Chiefs. That's a long time, dude. And so last season, the Bo Nix Broncos did not beat the first team Chiefs, mainly because, Zach, we had that freak blocked kick that would have otherwise given the Broncos a going away game winner. Time was expiring chip shot. I mean, it was a chip shot field goal. So if they win this, man, it's going to be feeling like you're 10 foot tall and bulletproof going into this bye, man. It'll be quite the high, but you don't want to count those chickens till they've hatched. Broncos got to go out and take care of business.
Yeah, Boot Boy, I think Warrior perfectly exemplifies who Alex Singleton is as a person. If you know what he's been through with his sister, his own familial struggles, if you know he played on a torn ACL, he broke his thumb, he plays through everything. He played after a cancer diagnosis and had a great game and was celebrating with his teammates. I have a lot more newfound respect for Alex Singleton after today.
Yeah, he's a great guy. So keep your prayers up for him, and he'll get out of the woods. I have no doubt. Thank you, Scott. This is the way 1022 in the house. Thank you for the super chat, my friend, and for being a member as well, dude. Awesome. I think Mims could go off this week, he says. Yeah. I mean, it's, we're not so jokingly brought up over the last two podcasts, Zach, that the mini slump that Bo Nix has found himself in over these preceding two games just so happened to correspond to the two games that Marvin Mims was out. So he does something for that offense that is very helpful to Bo Nix. And I think, Zach, it stretches beyond just the gadgetry. I think it's what he does to defenses. They have to kind of respect his vertical threat. And that does open things up in a way that have been absent for the past 2 weeks.
And that's, I think, the way, no pun intended here, to start the game on Sunday is the shock and awe treatment against Kansas City. They're expecting the Broncos to run the ball. They're expecting deep shots to Franklin or getting maybe Pat Bryant more involved. If Marvin Mims is back, no one's expecting them to uncork a 50-yard bomb to him. So maybe you're right. Maybe he could be the X factor on Sunday.
Yes, exactly. David T. Dobbin said he was good during an interview. Then it's second opinion. Yeah, that's the story so far, buddy. Our friend Glenn down under in Oz. Good to see you, buddy. Give Jackson some bones from us. All right. Says Bo has to sort his footwork out. He's looked tired when he has struggled. 7 games in 39 days, 3 on short rest. That includes 2 international flights and the just past Thursday night football game. And the excessive the excessive drops to the mix. 8-2 though. Hashtag MHH for life. Hashtag state of being. That's right, dude. I mean, it's the energy Bo was playing with on Thursday night. To me, Zach, was really the most concerning thing. He just looked so unsettled. Like he looked like a quarterback playing his first ever NFL game. Like everything was too fast for him. Everything seemed to kind of be spooking him as far as the rush. He was double clutching a lot. He was not setting his feet. He was getting to the bottom of his drop and not setting. He was like getting at the bottom and then off he'd go, and just very helter-skelter. So that's something that Sean Payton's got to get to the bottom of, which, by the way, he talked a little bit about it today, Zach, in the conference call. If I can find it here, I don't know where it went. I'll find it in a minute, but he didn't sound too concerned about Bo Nix. Let me just put it that way.
No, and again, a lot of these, I don't want to say excuses, but a lot of these factors are relevant. They were on an historic run in terms of games played, and there's a lot being made about how they'll have 1 game in 23 days. They've earned the break. They've won them all, and again, I said it yesterday, and I think a lot of Broncos fans agree. You don't get to 8-2 without Bo Nix.
No doubt. Pardon me, no doubt about it. Here's what he said. So Coach was asked on the conference call, hey, how do you help Bo Nix slow down his internal clock? Because he looked very rushed. He looked skittish. How do you help him slow down his internal clock without losing the quick instincts, which also help him, of course, avoid sacks? Quote, I think it's a plus and a minus. I've said that before. I think one of Bo's great strengths is not taking sacks. And so the clock in his head relative to that sense of urgency, I think there's a fine line of, number one, the depth of the route. Is this a longer developing play, a 7-step drop, a 5-step drop, a 3-step drop? And what should be the appropriate time? I think that's a much easier problem to correct than the latter, which is taking sacks, because Sean Payton went through that with Russell Wilson.
Yep.
He goes on to say, lastly, and historically speaking, that taking sacks has been much more difficult to fix, close quote.
I think it's one of those good problems to have if your quarterback's clock is on point to that extent where it's an issue and he's speeding up his own progressions. Those are all correctable issues. And what the good that we've seen from Bo Nix far outweighs this one bad trait that he's shown so far.
The Mile High Dutchie, Albert Knopper's in the hizzy. He says the media is so biased. You're preaching to the choir here. This was a point Zach made last night. Bo has a bad game. Everyone screams, bench him. You don't hear that when Josh Allen or Aaron Rodgers has one. Both stats are so much better for 26 games than other QB's first 26. Zach, you brought that up with the stinker that Josh Allen turned in yesterday.
I mean, he threw a horrible pick in the red zone, in the end zone. They lost on the road to a team they should have destroyed. I still haven't heard much about it, Chad, but the Broncos win a trap game of their own, and we hear this narrative about how they suck and how Bo Nix is a bust. How about how Jackson Dart from the Giants, he got injured against the Bears yesterday. When a quarterback against the Broncos gets injured, everyone brings up Bountygate. They call them dirty. No one's saying a word about the Bears injuring Jackson Dart. So that's a double standard, Albert. That's how the media is. And we could complain about it like I'm guilty of it too. Or we could just say, let them hate.
Let them hate. Jordan Lewis is asking how long is Singleton going to be out? We don't know for sure. We only know that he will be missing the Chiefs game, and that's what he said. I mean, I'll tell you exactly today what he said about his outlook / prognosis. How much time are you going to miss, etc. Or pardon me, the question is when he expects to return to footballs, to be as respectful about the question as possible. He said, quote, "I'm not giving an exact timetable yet, but I should recover pretty quickly from the surgery and then get up and running here pretty soon. But I for sure will miss this weekend." And as far as I'm trying to find the part about follow up here, if he feared the diagnosis would end his season, well, without reading a bunch of stuff, he's not sure yet the timetable. That's the bottom line, Zach. Other than, like I said, he won't be there this Sunday against the Chiefs. So that's one of the reasons you're going to see, I think, a very inspired collective effort from the defense.
I read somewhere that he said he wouldn't miss 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. So it sounds like it's a multi-week thing, but it's not like an end of season kind of thing. The Broncos will have Singleton back for the playoffs. And again, for now, the number one priority, and the team said as much as well, Chad, is making sure that he's 100% healthy and good to go.
My mind does go to, all right, if you're the Broncos, because yes, you want to support Alex, of course. And they have, by the way, he's raved about how much that team was helpful in the diagnosis, because this all came to be because he was just a random NFL mandated drug screen, and his urine came back with a high level of what is it, Zach? Human growth hormone, HGH, I think is what it was, wasn't it?
Something like that.
So he doesn't put anything in his body like that. I mean, that is a chemical that people who are trying to use enhancing drugs will use. And so he was shocked by it. He knew that nothing as far as his supplements and stuff like that could be having that effect. So he went in and, basically with the Broncos' help, they got to the bottom of it and ended up figuring out the testicular cancer side of things. But my question is, what do the Broncos do with his roster spot? Because if it's even in doubt whether or not 2 or 3 weeks, do you put him on IR because you got the roster spot? But then again, Zach, it's a little bit fortuitous in terms of the timing, because if it's only a 2 or 3 week window in terms of real time, not 2 or 3 weeks in terms of games, he might need to only miss the Chiefs game, because then he's off for 14 days and he could be back for the Commanders game that we'll grab Stu.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, the Broncos are barring any setbacks, and I'll knock wood for them as I say that, the Broncos will have Singleton back sometime in December. They're getting PS2 back in time for the stretch run as well. So again, like you said, Chad, if the Broncos were going to have these injuries and unfortunate setbacks, it worked out in their favor as much as it could.
No doubt. We've got Zeus McPeak in the hizzy, the very first face etched on the MHH Mount Rushmore. I got to say it every time I see it. You know this, Stu. We owe you a lot, big dog. He says, "Hi, all. Bo will be fine. He will keep getting better. Let's go beat the Chiefs. We need a good run game, so hopefully JK will be back." That's the hope. Fingers are crossed. The one thing you can say about Sean Payton, and I kind of got further encouraged by this morning. I wrote this last night for the article that published first thing this morning, but Sean Payton said something today, and I was like, right on. I was like nodding my head like, yeah, buddy. And that is that, it's a big game. We know that. Hello. And we're going to be ready to go. The Broncos are going to be ready for the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's one thing Sean Payton, in my opinion, has earned a lot of confidence. And that is he has always done well to have the Broncos dander up for the Chiefs. Like even that first matchup, Zach, as Broncos head coach against Andy Reid, it was at Arrowhead, and the offense with Russ just could not do anything right. But the defense, if you guys remember in 2023, that Chiefs offense was insane. I mean, they were putting up huge numbers, and the defense held them, kept it close. I mean, they scored total in that game 18 points, which was 18 or 19, either way, which was well under what they were averaging, buying the Broncos time. Like, come on, Russ, let's get something going. And they did finally get a little something going, but it was too little too late. Chiefs won that game. fast forward a few more weeks down the road, Chiefs have to come to Denver. And not only did the defense reprise its excellent performance and totally shut down the Chiefs offense, Zach, but finally Russ and company woke up, and the Broncos basically dominated the Chiefs at home in that game. And that's the game, of course, that snapped the streak. And that was with Russ. Last year, I mean, you almost beat them in their house. You should have, if not for a freak thing. Sean Payton does a really good job of getting the Broncos ready for the big games and the big opponents, and none more so, I think, than the Chiefs.
Yeah, and the Broncos have this issue with playing up to their level of opponent and playing down to their level of opponent. We saw that on Thursday. Hopefully, they'll play very much up, Stu. Thank you for that super, by the way. And regardless of whether JK plays or not, it's imperative that Sean Payton establishes the run with RJ Harvey, with Julian McLaughlin, even with Bo Nix. I don't care, but it's one way to keep Mahomes off the field, shoot some clock, and push the ball down the field. I'm also confident, as Chad is, that Bo will be okay. Thank you again.
Love you, Zeus. Hope the family's doing well, big dog. And if JK is a no-go this week, then it ends up being the RJ, Tyler, and Jaleel show. You'll see Jaleel active if JK is a no-go, but I'm hoping that's not the case. But then again, Zach, if it's even questionable, like if the Broncos are worried about it, or as much as they want this one, they probably want their number one running back available for the full stretch run.
Yes.
Wouldn't shock me if they say, you're just missing this one. Like, we need you for the whole stretch. Even if the Broncos, and I'm biting my tongue as I say this, were to lose this game to the Chiefs, they know they get one more shot, and they still have to face the Chargers at the end of the season in the finale. So it's up in the air, JK's availability this week.
That's my same mindset about Surtain as well. I'd rather have him and Dobbins for the entire length of the rest of the season than push him for one game.
Yeah, as Jordan said, thinks that's where he's landing too. So as far as the main storylines tonight, guys, I think we've kind of hit. And Ronk's saying Mason reported that. Well, yeah, not reported. I think Sternad will wear the green dot as well. So it makes the most sense, as we talked about earlier in the show, and he's got the most experience now of the available linebackers in Vance Joseph's scheme. So it would be a shock, I think, Zach, if Sternad doesn't wear the green dot.
And I think, again, they're going to miss Singleton's locker room presence, his run-stopping ability, but in pass coverage especially, they're going to be better off with Sternad and Greenlaw on the field together.
All right, we got, guys, a couple messages for you. Don't go anywhere. Then we're going to come back and take one last look at the chat before we dip.
Another tremendous installment of the Mile High Huddle podcast. If you're not doing so, please follow us on X at the MHH Pod. You can follow the main account on X at Mile High Huddle. Chad at Chad and Jensen, myself at Kelberman NFL, and Scott, our producer, at Scout Kennedy. If you guys want some merch like we're rocking each and every single podcast, check out mhhmerch.com and get you some. If you haven't done so yet, please drop us a like at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. You can find us on Instagram at Mile_High_Huddle. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you're leaving your football priest a 5-star review for a chance to win some merch each and every single month. But if anything, y'all, please, very important that you subscribe, you like, you share this video and every video you see on the MHH channel. It really helps us grow and reach more Broncos fans just like you.
Sonny says, and thank you for being a member, Sonny. Did you see how the Texans came back in their game on Sunday versus the Jags? Shows how good our defense really is. And yeah, and it was also without CJ Stroud, it was Mills. And everyone marveled, of course, at the 33 fourth quarter points the Broncos put up against the Giants. Well, the Texans put up 26 fourth quarter points. So they were down 29-10 going into the fourth quarter. And the defense of the Texans kept the Jaguars scoreless in that fourth. And the Texans put up 26 points, won the game 36-29. So they're a much better team, the Texans, in all honesty, Zach, than their 4-5 record. They had kind of some weird luck at the beginning of the season. They've been dealing with the absence of Stroud. They're a team that's going to threaten for a wild card, I think.
And they have up there with the Broncos, maybe not as impactful, but they have an elite defense. D'Amico Ryans has them pretty well coached. They took them the Broncos right to the brink. So I'm right there with you. I think they're going to be fighting for a wild card spot.
All right, guys. Love and appreciate each and every one of you. A special mile high salute. Well, first of all, Ronk, a dear member, with his customary message. Good evening, Chad and Zach on the MHH Pod. Go Bo Broncos. Great to see the Ronk in the house. But a mile high salute and a special shout out to all the great Super Chat superstars, supporters, members, helping us keep the lights on. Papa Bear, thank you, buddy. The Brace Girdle boys, Gene and Ralph, George Fox, Joe Anthony, Jonathan Figueroa, Cody Dubb, David T, Tucson Phil, Boot Boy, a.k.a. Chaos Josh, Shannon Mills from the top rope. This is the way, and Zeus McPeak. Thank you guys so much. Zach and I, as a tandem, we're off until Thursday, but tomorrow, members only, Kelberman's Corner, noon Mountain Time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Be there, be square.
I will look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow afternoon for Kelberman's Corner. Chad and I will be back on Thursday to preview the Broncos-Kansas City matchup. Have a great start to your week. Take care, and as always, go Broncos.